Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Mila Baraka. I'm looking at Psalm 37, verse 7. We're up to Daleth. Daleth is the D, of course, in Hebrew, and we're looking at an acrostic. In this case, only one verse is used for Daleth. In other words, Daleth is a little bit shorter, it's more abbreviated section here, about 3/4 of what would be the previous section. So stay tuned, and we'll look at what happens there structurally. Daleth. And we begin here with Dom, the person who did the first writing, made the Daleth so short it looks a little bit like a yod, but it's a Daleth, okay? Dom, and the person doing the retouching should have fixed up the holum on the top here, but it's still there. So Dom. This is to be still. I checked with Gesenius on this one, and he said it's onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia means that the word sounds like what it is. And what you have here is when you say dom, and you finish the expression of dom, your mouth closes up when that last mem or that last m is pronounced. Dom. So you're holding your mouth shut when this word stops. So it means be still, be quiet, close your mouth. In other words, it's onomatopoeia, be quiet, be still. It's a great meditation. It's a great sense of when you're before the Lord, you state your case, you say your prayers, but you don't go into vain repetitions. Once you've expressed your prayers to the Lord, at that point, close your mouth and be attentive to listening. There's something to be said about the small, still voice. When Elijah had to go off into the desert, to Mount Horeb, and he was hiding himself in a cave, and then all kinds of funny big things happened outside. But the Lord wasn't in the fire, it wasn't in the wind, he wasn't in all those big stuff. Isaiah heard him when there was a small, still voice, and that is something that most certainly should call our attention to. So if we're talking too much, if we're too excited or getting into too many things, we don't have time then to listen to the Lord. And what David is telling us, stop, hold on, listen carefully to the Lord. Be quiet, because when you're quiet, then you have the ability to hear the Lord. So, Dom le Jehovah, be quiet before Jehovah. And this particular name ends here with a sinor, one of my favorite accent marks. Some commentators call it a hook to hook onto the next verse. I say no, it's a waterfall. I prefer the waterfall thing because when you compare it in the waterfall or the water channel that you have under the city of Jerusalem, that's the sinor. And this is the sinor right here. Okay, and it's to me it's a little bit more of a rafe. Rafe action, in other words, pushing the connection then between this word to the next word with the sinor. It flows, the text jumps over a waterfall, heads down into the next word. So, le Yehovah ve hit, ve hit holel, and wait patiently. I investigated this little word, chet lamet, and it's part of the family of the gimel lamet that we have in the previous verse. The previous verse had a reference to gol, in other words, turn towards the Lord. This one also in the same sense of turning towards the Lord, or turning around the Lord, dancing around the Lord. And we have to picture it somewhat as a small child who's standing before a parent, has made a request for cookie or food or whatever it is, and then is kind of dancing around that parent, waiting, in a very expectant way of, hey, please concede what I'm asking for. And that's a very simplified way of looking at it, but it does show the personal sense, the personal attention of waiting, and then also being very attentive and in a sense carrying out a small dance, waiting then for a response. So hit holel, in other words, wait patiently, I would say patiently, but I would also say wait a little bit impatiently, because you're still attentive to what the Lord will give or concede and will give to you. So hit holel lo, and wait upon him. This is a preposition and the suffix pronoun here, masculine, third masculine singular, and the reference or the antecedent of this pronoun is Jehovah. So wait upon him. And then al tithar. This is how the whole Psalm of 37 begins, with this aleph right here. So when we needed an aleph at the start of the whole acrostic system, it started with this one, and we're seeing it again here, and I think we see it again one or two more times. But it's one of the favorite phrases of our psalm here. And don't fret, don't get harassed, don't get around, don't get rammy, don't get angry, don't get har, okay? Don't feel harassed. So and again, hit. This one's a hit poel, and this is a hit pael. Tithar, okay? And don't fret, don't anger yourself. Incidentally, the yourself comes from the hit pael right here, because it's a double tau that makes it a reflexive sense. In other words, don't anger yourself. Be ma zi liach, be ma zi liach. A nice patah fructifa. Patah fructifa is the sneaky patah. It's sneaky because it comes at the start of the syllable. Most sudic is also an exception, but most vowels follow the consonant, but this one, the vowel precedes the consonant. So you'll see it also in noach. Okay, so it's quite possible. With the chet does allow a patah sometimes to stand itself in front of. In other words, it's opening the syllable with the patah, which is unusual in Hebrew. So this is prosperity. So don't be agitated by the prosperity. And we have to go all the way to the end as to what kind of prosperity. In other words, oseh mishmot. In other words, the one who's into sneaky schemes and into sneaky plans. This is based on Shema. When you're out, it's used positively in Proverbs 31 of the virtuous woman going shopping. But here it can be also very much negatively. And we're going to see a further negative use of the Zayin Mem in our study. I was just reading forward a little bit. So you have the prosperity, dercho, of his way, of the road. And I've said in the previous studies that this is the sum total of your ethical, moral behavior. In other words, the moral behavior of this person, and when we look forward, it's based on schemes and evil stuff. And so when your road is based, its prosperity is based on evil, then don't be angry about that in others. In other words, if others have gotten their way, gotten themselves so rich and famous and so forth, don't be agitated by it. This is not that kind of prosperity, that kind of fame and fortune and so forth is not of the Lord. It's of sin, and so don't be upset about it. If anything, if you're looking for a passage to preach against prosperity gospel or prosperity promotion, this is it. In other words, prosperity is not an automatic sign of blessings from the Lord. Prosperity can be derived from something evil. So when that happens, of course, watch out. So ma shilea, in other words, ma shilea dercho. Now I'll get a little atna here. As I said at the start, the section that begins with Daleth here, dom, is an abbreviated one. In other words, and the normal structures we've seen so far is a phrase, another phrase, another phrase, and then it ends here. But this one actually ends right up here. In other words, we have a siluk sof pasuk right over here. So we only have three phrases, three pieces in this particular verse, and that's why Daleth, the Dom here, is a shorter section than the other ones we've seen so far. So Dercho, Beish, should have fixed this Beish. I don't think there's a Dagish in there. And Beish Ose, who does Mishmot, scheming things, evil devices, the one who carries out, the one who does. Now, the previous verse didn't have Asa in it, but the first verse, the first Aleph had Ose, Alav, and then the next one was a hortatory to say, seek or do good, Asa, Ase Tov, and then we had Asa, this is Yasa, Jehovah does, and then this one is he's doing, this is the man, a man. Yeah, this is any man. In other words, there's a reason why this, can't hardly see the Shafak here, but this makes this one an indefinite one. Anyone, okay, any man, Ose, who is doing. The OA is a part of masculine singular participle, who is doing Mishmot, the one who is doing evil things. It's a plural here. And it's based on Shema. Shema, you have to be careful here. It's not a Shin Mem, or it's a Sadik. It's a Zion Mem. Okay, Mishmot. Okay, Mishmot. When you're seeking for something, you're scheming something. Take that noun to scheme, move it into a noun with the mem right here. Mem can quite often convert verbs into nouns, and then you have mishmot, okay, mishmot, and then that's a feminine plural ending on the end. Schemes, evil schemes. One who's doing evil schemes, don't get upset about it, okay? Tithare, al tithar. And like I said, this is now the second time, and I think we're going to look at one or two more times that this particular advice is given in this way. Okay, don't be upset about it. Don't feel harassed about it. So about the prosperity of his way, of the man, of any man who is doing evil schemes. This is a very much advice or David speaking about, he lived most certainly a time when people were pulling all kinds of evil schemes all around him. But there were times that he would go into the desert, sit there very quietly, meditate. Sometimes it was the back of a cave watching King Saul in the front. And he learned the value of being quiet before the Lord. And I think that's a characteristic that all of us should be learning, that when we're before the Lord, there most certainly comes a time when we've stated our case, but then we wait patiently for his answer. It can be a little bit difficult sometimes to just look like we're not doing anything about it, but most certainly there is some value into staying quiet before the Lord with the great expectation that he will answer. And we know that sooner or later he will answer in some way, shape, or form that is the best for us. So wait patiently on the Lord. He will carry out what he wants for you. And in the meantime, don't get upset and angry about all the evil things that are happening in this world. Those things will come under judgment of the Lord. Those things will pass away. And the one who's faithful to the Lord will receive his care and his blessing from now all the way into eternity. So God bless and God strengthen you, and wait patiently for the Lord. Until the next time.